Love and peace. Today I want to begin by reading from the Herald and News from 1891. I hope that you enjoyed the demonstration, and I will that you are enjoying your Holy Friday. Let's begin. A Gaelic find in Denmark. An antiquarian find which will excite interest all over Europe has lately been made in Rovermose, Peat Bog, near Hobro, in Jutland, Aalborg. The objects are all of silver, the principal piece being a very large basin on which have been fastened plates of silver hammered out with figures of men, women, and animals. The basin is 26 Danish inches in diameter, but scarcely 8 inches high. One or two pieces are apparently wanting, but it is hoped they will turn up when the moss is minutely examined. The eye holes of the figures are now empty, but had evidently been filled with colored glass. One of the plates, which is nearly 17 inches long, shows warriors with helmets and other ornaments. One figure is a god with a wheel at his side, and on another are 2 elephants. A third shows a horned god in a sitting position with his legs crossed, oriental-wise. All these have apparently nothing to do with northern mythology, as was at first supposed. The whole find has now reached the Danish National Museum, and we see that these pieces belong to the god lore of the Gaelic people. The god with the wheel, for instance, is the Gaelic sun god. The whole is the work of a Gaelic artist at that earlier period when the Roman and Gaelic people first came in contact, allowing time for these things to wander so far north. The date would seem to be as regards Denmark, the 1st century before Christ. Other things belonging to this Gaelic group have been found previously in this country. The total weight of precious metal hitherto exhumed is about 20 Danish pounds. Academy. Now we've already went over the study about who the horned god was with the Anu wheel, which is the Cernunnos, and that belongs to the Celtic Cornish. So today we're going to unveil what has been hidden, misnamed, and buried, the truth of the Cornish people, not as a side culture of Britain, but as the true origin of what the world now falsely calls Gaelic, Irish, Scottish. We will journey from the bogs of Denmark to the Stone of Destiny, from the caves of the Caucus and the Hallstatt to the throne of England, from St. Patrick's Serpent to the cutting of Moorish heads in celebration. This is not just history, this is unveiling of a spiritual conquest and the survival of a bloodline born of Cernunnos. The name Cornwall means horned foreigners, corn from Cornovi, the horned ones, the people of Cernunnos, wall from the Anglo-Saxon well, meaning foreigner or slave. So Cornwall to the English crown was the land of the horned slaves. The so-called Stone of Destiny upon which kings are crowned sits beneath the throne of England. It is said to be of Scottish origin, but in truth it is an object of sovereignty stolen, moved, hidden, and displayed like a trophy. The fact that Scottish kings and now English monarchs sit on a Druidic relic tells you all you need to know. The Celtic soul was stolen, then camouflaged beneath the cross, and yet the Scottish Rite Freemasonry, named so to honor that land, answers not to Scotland, but to the English crown, whose monarch is the supreme patron of Freemasonry. So who really rules? Not Scotland, not the lodge, but the conquering force that absorbed both. The word Irish sounds ancient and sacred, but hidden within it is a mockery of the Moors. The Moors once sailed the western coast, calling into ports now lost to time. The phrase ire, matey, didn't come from pirates by accident. It's of ire, or anger, and Moorish identity. Ireland was not simply Celtic, it was intertwined with Moorish blood, and that became the target of eradication by Christian powers. St. Patrick the Serpent in the Long Monday. St. Patrick, hailed for driving the snakes from Ireland, never dealt with reptiles. The serpent was a metaphor, the Moorish people, the keepers of ancient science, the sacred geometry of Cernunnos. One serpent from Delvina was said to have been chained, and Patrick promised to release him every Monday, but the serpent said, "It's a long Monday, Patrick." He wasn't talking about time, he was talking about betrayal. The Irish who sided with Christian invaders and helped expel the Moors, their spiritual kin. The clover and 3 Moorish heads. The three-leaf clover, presented today as a symbol of Christian Trinity, was originally a symbol of Moorish conquest. The celebration that follows, the boar's head, refers to where one Christian Moor, Kenneth More, beheaded 3 Moors. This ritual violence was commemorated with feasting and song, and it echoes in today's Irish pride festivals. A dark irony, Moors, once honored as gods and kings, became symbolic trophies under Christian rule. The heart of Robert the Bruce, Scotland's lion, died, but his heart did not rest. His comrades took it in a silver casket to be buried in Jerusalem, a holy act of honor. But spiritually, it was a confession that the soul of Scotland owed a debt to a deeper past, a sacred East, and to gods older than Christ. Cernunnos, the horned god, reclaimed. Cernunnos, antlered and eternal, is found in cave walls, silver bows, and ancient altars. He is not just a nature god, he is the master of life, of animals, of cycles, of balance. The Celtic troglodytes who mined the Caucus Mountains and Hallstatt all over the world were the chosen workers of the gods, slaves and stewards, and some given the gene of passion. The Irish, Scottish, and Gaelic identities have been camouflaged, diluted, renamed. But what lies underneath them? A Cornish spirit, a horned god, a miner's bloodline, a serpent's memory, a heart that refuses to die. With the wheel, the antlers, the caves, and the gods who walk no more in temples, but through you. Do not let them fool you into misnomers as Irish, Scottish, or Gaelic. Know who you are. You are Cornish. You are the Celts, sons of the Moors. You are the Cornish. And now the Monday is over. The serpent rises again. So in closing, from the mountains to the sea, the division of the Cornish bloodline, from the salt mines of Hallstatt to the high ridges of the Caucasus Mountains, the early Cornish people, children of Cernunnos, Anu and Ninhursag, were forged in the deep earth, harvesting minerals, carving out symbols, and honoring the will of cosmic balance. Troglodyte priest workers were not primitive but sacred, mining not just for survival, but in service of a spiritual science. But they was targeted by the breakup of the empire. These spirit miners became resources, trafficked and enslaved, their lineages scattered across Europe's coast, even unto the Americas, known as the Tamakua. They fled and were cast out towards the edge of the world, to so-called Ireland, so-called Cornwall, to Scotland, not by choice, but by conquest. There at the sea's edge, they remained half free, half subjugated. Some clung to the horned god, to the stone of the wheel. Others, tempted by power or broken by hardship, aligned with Rome, embraced English prayer books, and joined the crusading cause. These became the converted, the ones who hunted their own, who helped chain the serpent, who marched beneath the papal cross, and in doing so, they divided the Cornish spirit in two. One part, true and underground, passed through symbol and secrecy. The other, visible and loyal to Rome, helped erase its own ancestors. This is why you find Cornish blood in all Celtic lands, yet few who know its name. This is why those who should be brothers, Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, now speak different tongues and honor different flags, all while kneeling beneath the throne that sits on their own stolen stone. But stones remember, so do bloodlines, and so does the serpent. The return of the Cornish spirit is a movement. It is a correction, a homecoming. I leave you in love and peace. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration.